Hey, and welcome to another battle report from Berghofer. This time it's Warriors of Chaos against Elves, 2000 points army. And the Warriors of Chaos will this time be bringing full force of the Iron Legion, or at least a big part of it. As for characters, I have Titan the Forge Lord, he's the Lord of the Iron Legion, a Sorcerer Lord level 4, Mark of Siege, Unholy Strike, Sword of Striking, Enchanted Shield, Talisman of Preservation, and the other Trickster's Shard. I long wanted to try out this build for a Sorcerer Lord, and now I have the chance. Then I have the Harbinger, he's level 2, Mark of Slaanesh, Chaos Familiar, Chaos Steed, and the Terrifying Mask, and I have a purpose with that. Ferrous Ironhide, Exalted Hero, Battle Standard, Shield, Scaled Skin, Hideous Visage, Dawnstone. And for core units, I have the Iron Guard. 18 Warriors of Chaos with the Mark of Siege, Shield, Command, Standard of Discipline for Leadership 9 in the army. Then the Fast and the Furious, 6 Forsaken of Slaanesh, and 2x5 Warhounds with Vanguard. Then for special units, I have the Bone Crusher, Gore Piece Chariot with Mark of Slaanesh, and the Nightmares, 6 Chaos Knights with Mark of Slaanesh, and then Sorcerer Weapons and Command Group. And a Hell Cannon. Has to be there, you know it. And you can see the combo when I tell you that the Sorcerer level 2 is going with the Knights to scare things off the table. And my Wood Elves opponent had a very interesting list, and no, he didn't tailor it against the Warriors of Chaos. It was the list he had from earlier lying around, ready to play with. He's a Spellweaver level 4, Law of Life, a Great Eagle, Talisman of Preservation, and get 1 extra Dispel dice when opponent use 4 or more dice on a spell item that I don't remember what's called. And that's his characters. 4 core units consisting of 3x5 Glade Riders and 1x6 Glade Riders to fill the core points. Then he had 2x12 Wild Riders of Corners with Command Group, and one of them had the Razor Standard. And for his rare units, a Treeman and 2 Great Eagles. So, yeah. Not good for me. Not good for me. I mean, I do have some damage bill in Law of Slaanesh, but this is a very interesting army to face. So this is deployment, Warriors of Chaos, very centralized, or to the left of the board actually, where he placed his first troops. He got me on that one. From left to right I have the Gore Piece Chariot and the Forsaken that is proxied by normal warriors, as I don't own any Forsaken yet. I have to try them off a few times. Try them out. Then I have the Iron Guard with Ferrous and Titan, and then I have 5 Warhounds, the Hell Cannon, that's my other Hell Cannon, yeah. And I have the Nightmares and the Harbinger and 5 more Hounds, and that's the entire Warriors of Chaos army. So, yeah. And here's some close-up shots from it, so you can, get a better view at how my models look from behind. And here's the center, so to speak, the Hell Cannon, if there is such a thing in this compact deployment. And over here the Knights and the Hounds, Countess. His deployment is very spread out, so we'll have to take it from one end to another, and then I have a final picture of the entire deployment afterwards. Here he has the 3x5 Glade Riders, and one of the Eagles, and right to that Eagle is the other one, and then the 6 Glade Riders. And to the right of them is the Treeman and his mounted Spellweaver. So you can already see it here, very spread out. And then he has his 2 units of 12 Corners Wild Riders. And those are like so way to the right from me that my Knights aren't even in line with the Treeman. And this is the look of the entire board before we started. So, yeah, he got me completely out flanked and maneuvered. But hey, that's life for Warriors of Chaos. And with all his drops, he could place the Wild Riders at last. And here are the spells from Law of Metal with the Forge Lord. And you can just watch them if you want. And the spells from Mark of my Slaanesh character, the Harbinger there. And I don't have the cards, so you'll just have to look them up. But I can tell you number 3 is the Hysterical Frenzy. Number 4 is the Slicing Shards, D6 Strength 4. Magic Missile. Number 5 is the 3d6, the 2 highest for leadership. And here we go with from the front, just so you see what my opponent sees. And that's after we vanguarded the dorks. So there they are. And a better picture of the vanguard. She didn't vanguard anything because he was in range with everything. So yeah. And this is Voice of Chaos who got turn 1. So after movement it looked like this. Now I just completely abandoned his his left flank, our left, and just thought, well, those 2 units, I don't care. I send up the Gore Beast and the what are they called again? Oh, Forsaken after them, and the rest of the army I just moved to the right to get the Wild Riders. And then I got the Glittering Robe off on those guys to give them a 2-up, and then in his turn 1 he moves like this. I moved the dog up to interfere with his movement, and yeah, well, never mind. And this is how he moved over here. And his Cornus Wild Riders moved up to the river and just stayed there. As you can march over a river, so he was fine with that. Over here, my dogs take some shooting and run through the other dogs who actually make their break test on Leadership 5, so that's, well, that was nice. They're still in the way, and that's what they're supposed to be. And yeah, Hail of Doom Arrow. 4 wounds total on the knights from his character, and I pick up 4 dice. If you watched my last report, I picked up 5 dice the 3rd time they were shot at, and I rolled 3 ones. This is the first time they receive any kind of fire, and 4 dice, only 3 ones. Man, well, they can still serve their purpose, perhaps. At the start of 2, my hounds continued to flee, and they flee through the Glade Riders there and take 1 more casualty, and well, are stranded there. And I just keep moving up my stuff. Now, my knights, reduced as they are in strength, I do not advance them towards the tree men and 2 units of 12, as I think they would just get slaughtered, honestly. So I just wait for my warriors to get there, and my hill cannon, well, it already moved last turn, so it gets ready to take a shot. In the magic phase, I cast Phantasmagoria on the unit of Wild Riders, and then give them a Slicing Shards. Unfortunately, they passed the first leadership test. They only take 1d6 hits and 2 dice. And my Hell Cannon in the shooting phase barely misses a hit, 2-inch scatter. So he only takes 1 wound on his character. And with Elves turn 2, it looks like this on this flank, moved down behind the Gore Beast and, well, doing his movement 18 stuff, flying around and yeah, so I've just abandoned that flank anyway with the Forsaken. Over here, well, he moved over the river with 1 of the units, as you see, and well, this is where it is, the treeman up to the river. And Warriors of Chaos turn 3. And yeah, at this point, I'm starting to get a little frustrated because Warriors of Chaos are supposed to be in close combat. And they are slow and cumbersome, even with the fairly fast army I have. At least, in my opinion, it's fairly fast. So, yeah. When this happens, I'm actually thrilled, because my Hell Cannon fails its leadership check to be able to be controlled twice within the battle standard. And I turn it around, and we measure it's 8 inches, and I roll 3d6 to catch that unit to just kill something. And I roll a 6 or 7. Ugh. Bad Hell Cannon. I mean, this was a great chance to actually do something and destroy a unit. And yeah, I could have taken shots, but oh well. And over here, on the far right, you can see the shadows of some Wild Riders that my knights could have charged if I had not moved them back. You can see here, I moved them back 3.5, 4 inches to wait, and I forgot that they were immune to panic. so they could not have declared a flee charge reaction. If I'd remembered that, I would have charged them with no second thoughts, just to get some use of my knights. But in the magic phase, I get Hysterical Frenzy off on the Glade Riders, and they take 3 wounds. That's pretty nice on 1d6 strength 3 hits. And over here in his turn, then he moves up like this on this part of the board, and he in the shooting phase he kills 1 Forsaken with those 2 units, and a knight with some more shooting. Well, he focused on those 2 units, so I guess it's expected. He still can get dwellers of below, dwellers from the below off. This is the second time he tries it, and I'm just extremely lucky with that poor rolling from his side. He tried in his first turn as well and failed that one. And this is the board at the end of turn 3. And you can see to the right his Wild Riders have moved down there behind the fence, behind the house, to be able to just come up on flanks or rear. So well, that fast cavalry rule is really annoying. And in turn 4, I've just gone, okay, screw this. So I dedicate a lot of points here. Yeah, I'm getting desperate to just catch something. I've spent so much movement just to try to capture something. So I sent 800 plus points after those 5 Glade Riders in the bottom. Now my Hell Cannon and my Chariot are turned so that if he runs backwards with them, he's within their charge arc, and the Knights, I just turned them around, moved them a little forward, and now they can't flee. And in the magic phase, I get Searing Doom off on the Treeman. I waited with the Knights. Half the reason for that was to get within range of Lord Titan within the Treeman. So he gets it off, and I rolled a miscast, but it's worth it. And this is the wounds. And it's flaming, and the Treeman is flammable, so that is 3 wounds multiplied by 2. 1 dead Treeman. And that was from the small version of the spell, so that was pretty lucky, 4 hits. And there he is, dead. Now my opponent didn't know that Searing Doom was a flaming attack, so he was a little surprised. But we looked it up, and it was good. And with turn 4, forgot to take pictures of their movements, so you'll see that in a few pics when we come to my turn 5. You'll have to get a good shot at how they're deployed now. It doesn't really matter that much. He finally gets dwellers from below off, and he kills 7 warriors, but luckily, as you can see on those 2 red dice, both my BSB, but even more importantly my my Sorcerer Lord Titan makes their strength checks, or they would just have been gone. I was nervous. In his shooting phase, he kills 1 more Forsaken, so, well, that's why I had 6, still combat viable. And we go to my turn 5. And in that turn, the traps are sprung. And I say traps because I moved I turned my Forsaken around so they could also help out to catch stuff down there. And as you can see, there's a Great Eagle there that seems to be within their arc of visibility and also charge range. And they are. They catch it, and he chooses to stay. And first close combat of the game in turn 5. Talk about frustrating. Ugh. Well, that's well played on his part. And the nightmares live up to their name. The strategy works. In this case, I would have preferred them to actually get further away, as you'll see why, but it's still pretty cool to see that the build is actually working. So I charged Cause Terror, and they simply flee off the table, which is the entire point of that unit. So that was pretty cool to see work. And we go to the Forsaken over here, and they kill the Eagle with only 2 attacks each. I rolled a 1 for their D3 plus 1 attacks. So I got 5 hits and scored exactly 3 wounds. That was great. So and none of them died in return. Those 2 attacks, and they didn't wound. So that was nice. And they will run to that position. And this is well, what the board looks like after the Knights charged. And no, actually, oops. That picture should have been before. Oh well. Over here, from my magic phase, the remain in play Hysterical Frenzy causes 3 wounds, which should have finished them off. He raised one of his Glade Riders in the last turn with the Law of Life. But he makes 1 armor save, so 1 guy remains. And Wood Elf turn 5. Yeah, he took that rear shots. That's why I would have preferred if they made that terror test in this case, those Glade Riders. But yeah, they didn't, and that's where I am. I could have turned to flee. But if I had fled, I would have ended up where he had a lot of other units that could just have charged them off the table and run them down. So well, at least here I get to fight back. That's my thoughts. And the rest of the movement phase for him, it makes the board look like this. Nice and easy. And he gets it off again, and I'm seriously sweating this time. I had a feeling that I would lose my lord last time, and I'm still nervous, but I make it. Whew! I'm glad. And the knights, they go from the ashes to the fire. And I should have cut that picture out. I didn't know it was there. I'm sorry. Well, doesn't matter. As you expected, the nightmares are killed and the harbinger is run down. They were down to leadership 4 and they were not within range of the balanced standard bearer, and yeah. Goodbye 500 plus points in a points denial game. The warrior's turn 6 sees the hell cannon fails its check at the start of the turn and charge those Corners Wild Riders, but that's fine because that's what I would have done anyway. So I'm thinking here I can get revenge for the knights at least. Until he gets off that plus 2 toughness spell, stone skin or whatever from Law of Life, and yeah, I'm back to wounding on force. And here, yeah, so I'm being careful, only using 3 dice to cast a spell because I finally realized that he gets an extra dispel dice, and I don't want to miscast because that would be bad. So 3 dice only. And the trickster god laughs his butt off about me, because, yeah, miscast, of course, for a spell that wasn't really that important, didn't do anything, and I lose 5 guys. Yeah. Over here, the 2 dogs that Hero ran into, one of them is killed, and the other one actually survives, but it flees. Expected. And the Hell Cannon killed 1 guy. Of the Corners Wild Riders, and his turn 6. The last turn of the game sees my Hell Cannon kill another one of his guys, and I gave it Enchanted Blades to hit on 3s instead. But yeah, only killed 1, and they still had Banner and they had Musician, so they actually won. And that was the game. So it was a loss for the Iron Legion. I mean, this list was not built to take on this kind of army. He had 911 victory points versus my 455, so he was 1 point within a big victory. The Warriors of Chaos casualties were the Iron Guard. Yeah, there was 1 left on the picture, but I forgot about the Trickster Shard when I was rolling the award saves, and I know not all of them were in base contact, but I know at least once 2 of them were, so I'm actually counting them as dead, unless I would have rolled 2 6s. So they're gone. Killed 2 man. And then the Nightmares and the Harbinger died. And that was it, but that was enough. As the Wood Elves only lost 5 Glade Riders, almost 1 more unit, but they didn't. A Treeman and a Great Eagle. It was a really annoying army to play, but it was a really, really great opponent. I really liked him. He was a great guy. It was the first time we played. I got completely outmaneuvered, but I never had a real chance to catch his units. Brilliant tactics versus chaos. I spent most of the game kind of confused about how to deal with this army. I mean, at first you saw I tried to ignore the small harassers, but then I realized I can't do anything about it. It will be on his terms. And the Lord on the Foot was a big drawback. I knew it would be, but in this game, obviously even more so. At least he got magic. It was great playing for my opponent though, and he pulled that playstyle off. We'll play another game the 27th of December, at least that's scheduled, against his Skaven. So I'll give you another battle report then. And enjoy this song meanwhile. It's great, and stay until the end.
If I should return with my body on my shield, tell my son I chose to die, then yield. Though my life may soon be gone, I hope you'll carry on. Remember me as one who would not kneel. Fight with blood, fight with steel, die with honor, never yield. Fearless hearts filled with pride, into glory we shall ride, into glory we shall ride. I am driven on in the face of all despair. Trust in steel, you will find me there. A sinner's fate awaits me, but my